There's a simple mistake that most B2B companies are making. The problem is that it's a hidden risk. It's like plaque buildup in your arteries. You don't really realize it as it happens. I'm Ed Marsh, and I help middle market industrial manufacturers with revenue growth. That means everything from approved board governance and strategy, through marketing, to all aspects of sales, and customer success, as well as the customer-facing technology that weaves it together. And I see this mistake all the time. So here's what the mistake is. Actually, first, let's start with quick background. Most industrial sales reps don't prospect as much as they should. And many don't have strong coaching and methodology, so they're putting in prospecting work, but it may not be yielding results. But let's say they are doing it and have been coached on technique, so they use the phone effectively, write decent emails, use social touches, use sales video, etc. They've been taught to prospect for projects. In other words, to execute their outbound sales playbook with the goal of finding companies and contacts who have a current active initiative that fits with what they sell. So they find these projects, put them in the pipeline, create a quote, run some loose bant, and then follow up. I mean, after all, the company has a project that's looking good, it's likely to happen, etc. You know the sales happy year is kind of a problem. But why is this a mistake? Well, let me quantify what I mean. If a company in a rep's territory is trying to solve a problem that your product or service solves, much less engaging with competitors, it's a major fail for sure if your rep doesn't know about it. I'm not arguing that ignorance is appropriate. You should know about these projects, and you should have battle cards and playbooks to optimize your chances. Team selling and other approaches can also help. But the deck is stacked against you. There's interesting research from Pavilion, TrustRadius, and 6 Sense that illustrates the problem. About 80% of the time, the vendor that a prospect contacts first wins the order. Only 16% of the time does the spec change once they've started reaching out to vendors. 70% of the vendors on the short list are known to the prospect before they launch the project, and about 70% of the time, the top company on that short list gets the order. But we also know that often those are just research projects. I mean, up to 40% of deals end in no decision. That could be because they never had executive sponsorship, or because in the end they misdiagnosed their own problem, they were risk averse, or they didn't see a compelling reason to change. So the fruits of the prospecting are often really a mirage. We think there's something to work on, but there isn't. So that's the mistake. But now you're asking, okay, if that's the mistake, what's the solution? Good question. The solution is to prospect with the goal of creating projects, not just finding active ones. But this is contrary to how we've trained reps. It's a critical adaptation to how markets are really what the expectations are today. And fair warning, this isn't an easy change. It requires top sales talent, great management, consistent coaching, a strong process and methodology, and patience. But here's how it works. Reps prospect to uncover pain and gain agreement that there's probably some root cause worth conversation. That leads to a discovery meeting. Now that's the rep's opportunity to shine. They need to find the gap that Keenan talks about. They need to find the compelling reason to buy, to quantify that, and establish differentiation through their questions and insights, as Dave Curlin describes in Baseline Selling. That requires business acumen, extraordinary consultative sales ability, lots of management emphasis and support. And it requires a mindset shift in the way companies look at pipeline and the KPIs that they measure for reps. This is a longer-term play. It takes time for reps to get good enough at consultative selling. It takes longer to create a project and to take a large buying team through the buying journey when their plates are already full of active projects that they've decided are important and a higher priority. And it absolutely requires that the symptom of pain only guides the research to find root cause and quantify business impact. Otherwise, there's no qualified project created, just a nice-to-have thought exercise. But if you're in a big-ticket, long sales cycle, complex sales environment, the data is clear. If you just prospect to find projects, your best possible outcome is winning about 30% of the deals that go to a vendor that's not on the short list. Those are not great odds, but they also explain why most companies so struggle to win new logo business. So stop making this massive B2B sales prospecting mistake.